Okay.
No, I didn't think so. There we go. Now you're
Okay.
good.
Okay. Okay. What's the delay? Okay. Perfect. So I'll pass the ball to one of our technical specialists, Ernest, to introduce himself, and then one of our leaders here at Microsoft, Stephanie Kleiner, should introduce herself. Then we'll pass it to Liz, and then we'll pass it to the star of the hour, who is Alabama Department of Revenue, Virginia Nielsen. So.
Thanks for that, Robert. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm Ernest Swindell here. I'm a technical specialist focusing on the Texas area. I have the locals here, and so we're looking forward to our partner and customer here to be able to share, and we look forward to engaging with the members on this thread moving forward. As you have any follow-up questions, your account team and your team is readily available to engage. So I'll hand it off to Stephanie at this point.
Good morning and good afternoon, depending on where you're located in the country. I'm Stephanie Kleiner. I'm really excited all of you are here today, and I'm super excited to have the opportunity to bring together folks out in the community using the Power Platform and being able to showcase how the Alabama Department of Revenue is taking advantage of this technology. This is a session for all of you all to collaborate. We're just here as facilitators. So thank you again for coming, and I look forward to a productive session.
Fantastic. Robert, Ernest, and Stephanie, thank you so much. My name is Liz Hallen. I am with Dynamics User Group, who is the host of the DUG Meetup program. And you are on a DUG4GOV meetup today, so welcome. And a huge thanks to Robert, Ernest, and Stephanie for being leaders of this group. This is volunteer time for them, and we're super happy and excited to be able to share some information with you. Before we dive into today's topic on the agenda, though, I did want to take just a minute or two here to introduce you to Dynamics User Group if you're not familiar with who we are and what we do. So we are a global community, and we offer a free membership for individuals who are leveraging any of the Microsoft Dynamics products. So Dynamics 365, Dynamics GP, as well as all of the Power Platform products. We have a global community. Today we have, we're actually over 45,000 community members worldwide. And our community is free for you. And our main purpose and kind of goal here is to do activities such as this DUG4GOV meetup, where we're bringing together people to offer education and really help all of you learn and engage with the rest of the members in the community, sharing best practices, and really in elevating your careers and your personal growth development. Just as an FYI, a little bit of rules of engagement for today's call. Our local meetup is open to everybody. We just ask that you please be very considerate of one another. This is not a sales platform. We are here to be educational in nature. And if you ever feel uncomfortable, please let myself or one of the leaders know, and we will make sure to do that. But DUG Meetups is just one of Dynamics User Group's programs. So Dynamics User Group, we also refer to it as DUG, hence the name DUG4GOV. In addition to our meetups, we offer online discussion forums. We have free educational webinars that we offer every month. Conferences, which I'm going to talk a little bit about here. You may have heard of the conference DynamicsCon. That is us. We are the host of the DynamicsCon, both in-person and virtual events. We have a very robust YouTube channel as well, with almost 700 videos, educational in nature, that have come from our DynamicsCon events, as well as previous meetings such as this one. So if you have missed any of the DUG4GOV meetings that we've hosted in the past on the meetups, you can find all of those previously recorded sessions there. And then we do have a Skill Up, which is an online demand training program. It's a little bit more in depth for people as well. Just some other quick notes and updates. We are, in addition to hosting regular meetups like this, we do offer slightly larger regional meetup events. We're going to be in Columbus, Ohio in about a month. In the Southeast, we're looking at Tampa probably sometime in September, Canada in November, and Texas. I actually think we are going to be coming there probably that last week in August as well. So more details coming there. Our large annual conference, though, is called DynamicsCon. We'll be hosting our 5th DynamicsCon in Chicago, Illinois this year. Registration is open now. We have our early bird rate, and we're very excited that each of you that are members of our DUG Meetup program, we have a special promotion for you right now where you get 50% off of the registration rate, and that'll go until September 30th. So Robert, Ernest, Stephanie, if you don't have that code quickly available, I'm happy to drop it in the chat for you. We would love to see all of you in Chicago. It's just a really great way to continue your education in an in-person environment. And I know many of you are in government, so budgets are tight, so half off is a pretty darn good deal. So bring all your friends and colleagues. If traveling and going to an in-person conference is not in your budget, we do have a virtual option called DynamicsCon Virtual. We do have session submissions open right now, and we will have those open until September 12th, I believe is the date. And what's really fun about this event is it's truly driven by the community, in that what we do is we'll take all the session submissions we receive. So if you're wanting to get in and really grow in your career in terms of being able to present, this is an excellent way to kind of dip your toe in those waters. All of the session submissions, once we've collected them, we're going to turn them over to the community and you all get to vote. And the top voted sessions are the ones that you will see on the final agenda, which will be happening on November 13th. And we will have tracks for all of the Dynamics 365 products. So Business Central, Customer Engagement, Finance and Operations, Dynamics GP, Power Platform, and then we'll have some cross-product stuff too, and some leadership things. In the past, we have had up to 8,500 people join us for the virtual event. So it's a really cool and global conference that we are very excited to be able to continue to bring to the community. With that, that's kind of my spiel. I'm happy to answer any questions in the chat, but I do want to move on and make sure that we are getting to the content you've all come here for. So, Robert, I will turn it back over to you to introduce our wonderful guest speaker.
Thank you so much, Liz. And with that, I'll go ahead and pass the ball to Virginia Neslein from Alabama Department of Revenue. Virginia is the IT project management there. And then myself and Ernest and several others on the call will be monitoring the chat for any questions you might have. As Liz and the team has mentioned, this conversation is for you all, so please feel free to communicate as much as possible. And Virginia.
Welcome, everyone. I appreciate you joining us here today. Again, my name is Virginia Neslein, a little different pronunciation. Anyway, I'm the IT project manager here at the Alabama Department of Revenue. I've been with ALDOR for almost 4 years now, as of September, and I'm really excited to share our experience with you. So let's get started. This is the agenda of what I'm going to go through on this PowerPoint presentation. So to begin with, the agenda lays out the topics, and to begin with, we're going to start with the project introduction, followed by the benefits that ALDOR experienced from our automation. Then I'm going to touch on the solution landscape and introduce our new portal, and then kick off a demo for us to watch of the process of the new portal and the approval process of the barcodes. And then we're going to talk about our future expectations. And then last but not least, we'll go into questions and answers. This slide lays out ALDOR's tax form evolution, where we went from manual to modern. What led to this tax form evolution? In the summer of last year, in 2023, our commissioner began receiving complaints from a couple of our Alabama accounting firms, which I'll refer to as vendors, about how long our approval process was taking for their tax forms to be approved. Our tax form approval process was at the time a very manual process. It consisted of the accounting firms sending an email along with their PDF tax form that contained the 2D or 1D barcode along with sample data. Then ALDOR would pull the files from the email, scan in the barcode, and load the data into an Excel spreadsheet. Then in the Excel spreadsheet, that's where they would actually do the data comparison on the test fields to the sample data that the vendor sent in. All data discrepancies were identified in Excel, and then an email was sent back to the vendor listing all the issues and errors. This process would happen manually over and over until all the discrepancies were removed with the tax form. Our commissioner requested that we improve this process ASAP. So immediately, as the IT project manager and with all the IT managers, we began brainstorming and looking into how we can decrease the time it took to get a response back to our vendors. We looked at hiring additional personnel. We also reached out to other states to see how they were approving vendors. We looked into a couple of our COTS packages that we could find. However, we couldn't find a solution that was an exact fit for our needs. So around the same time, our IT director, Rita Allen, heard about a low-code solution, actually from another local state agency. This prompted us to investigate what Microsoft Power Platform could do for us. We brought in HSO to see if they thought our vendor, to see if they thought it would even be feasible to implement a system within a 2-month time frame that would automate this process. Luckily, HSO reviewed our requirements and said they could build it. Thank goodness. We needed to ensure that we could still meet the tax season deadlines and that any solution we implemented was scalable. The main benefit that ALDOR realized was that HSO was able to build us a custom application specific to our needs in less than 2 months, 7 weeks to be exact. We went live with the 2D barcode approval process on September the 1st, 2023. The Power Platform solution provided us a faster transformation. This transformation reduced the previous year's manual process to just a few minutes of providing timely feedback to our vendors, as opposed to it dragging out for 1 to 3 days before a vendor received feedback. With this new application, we have a history of our barcode tax form reviews in a database instead of searching through emails. Everything is automated. There's no more Excel data comparisons, no more manual 2D or 1D barcode scans. ALDOR is able to pull up a history of all our transactions from our vendors and, check the status right then and there of what's going on. No more emails back and forth, and identifying the vendor's issues and making sure they are corrected. With this low-code solution, we were able to implement this solution in time for our 2024 tax season. We have been hearing positive feedback from our vendors since we've implemented this. They have reported that they are happy with it and it's a much improved barcode approval process. One vendor at a recent conference even noted that they were, the year before that, the last state vendor to be approved, but this year they were the first vendor to be approved for this year. The second part of this automation was building the Savvy portal, which we called the State Approvals Vendor Interface. This is where the vendors get approvals, register. It's the actual beginning process of the barcode approval process. Vendors used to manually fill out a letter of intent, but now this process has been automated through this portal. We went live with Savvy on Monday, July 15th, so we've only been live a couple weeks. We're hearing positive feedback on this portal as well. Savvy was created to streamline and enhance the vendor tax form processing. It's a dynamic website, and all approvals and communication is now conducted through this portal with an email reminder. Help is always available through the Savvy support ticketing system as well, so that was built into the portal. It also contains FAQs.
The entire help center is built into the product, into the portal. Once approved, all required tax forms and their status will be available to the vendors from the portal. So no more emails, just logging into the portal to check on the status of everything. Now we are 100% automated, and we perform this automation via the following tools. And this is a slide from an HSO's PowerPoint presentation. The barcode tax app ecosystem consists of a mix of Microsoft Power Platform, Azure, and third-party tools. One of the first things our vendor did was to convert the Department of Revenue's previously manual process to Power Apps. This was done with Microsoft's Dataverse as the database and model-driven Power Apps as the application. We also leveraged Microsoft SharePoint to store all the submitted tax forms. Our next obstacle was to tackle the important automations. To do so, our vendor used a combination of Power Automation, Azure, and Encodian Flower. Encodian is a third-party vendor that we use that allowed us to process PDF barcodes automatically. Because we are in the government cloud, we deployed the Encodian Flower tool to our Azure tenant in order to maintain GCC compliance. In addition to the previous tools that was just displayed on the previous slide, we also built our front-end portal. We had that built, which was the new Savvy. And this was built using Microsoft Power Pages. In the future, we plan on also using Microsoft Copilot to embed a chatbot on our Savvy portal. Now, I would like to kick off a quick demo that HSO built for us that demonstrates the entire Savvy portal along with the barcode approval process.
Virginia, we can't hear sound. You might need to stop sharing and reshare with sound.
Okay, sorry about that.
I'm still not hearing sound. Is anybody else hearing sound?
Not
No,
currently.
I'm not.
No
No.
sound.
Okay, well,
So Virginia,
I
when
can
when
kick
you
it off.
when you stop sharing and reshare, there should be a little toggle that says enable sound on the right hand.
Okay, stop sharing. Okay, I stopped
Okay.
sharing. What now?
And if you reshare your screen, there should be a little toggle on the right hand corner that says share with sound or enable sound.
And it says include sound right at the top.
Include sound, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let me go back to the beginning.
Welcome to this demonstration of Alabama Department of Revenue's vendor portal and tax form processing solution that was built in conjunction with HSO. As part of this demo, we'll walk through a few key processes pertinent to vendors wanting to do business with the state as it relates to vendor registration, tax form submissions, and processing. My name is Tony Zhang, Enterprise Architect on the solutions team at HSO. Let's begin by navigating to the Power Pages portal. Note that this portal website can be linked or integrated to your department's website, which can provide our customers, in this case our vendors, with a seamless user experience. One other important thing to note is that I've already logged in with my test account here, and there are a variety of native security tools such as Azure B2C and multi-factor authentication that can be leveraged to make this a secure and compliant portal. With that being said, it's worth noting that we can control what is shown for our unauthenticated visitors, such as only displaying the Help and Documents tab, which contain readily accessible information. But for our authenticated users, their access to the different content that we expose on the portal can be controlled by configurable web roles. So this vendor portal is meant to be a one-stop shop for our vendors where they can access different tools, such as in the help section here, for example, they can create support tickets, access FAQs. There's also process documents that they can access if they need instructions or additional information on how to fill out the registration, the LOI, or the form submissions itself. And as you can see here, there are embedded videos that we can embed in our portal as well. Under this Documents tab, here you can find a consolidated documentation such as our guides and handbooks, as well as a categorized tax forms that can be readily accessible for our vendors. If you're a new vendor, you would typically start by going to the vendor registration tab here and then clicking this button to register. Here on this form, you can enter in basic information about your organization or agency. So your basic information here, your address information, as well as any product information. Similarly, on the letter of intent tab, here is where you can update the company information that you may have already entered, specify products, requirements, software limitations, as well as specify the relevant tax forms as a potential vendor to the state. It's important to note that the information captured under both of these tabs will flow seamlessly to the related Power App, which I'll show here. Here is where your department's admins and users will have access to the information that gets captured on the portal. So here, for example, I've opened up one of the LOI records that I've pre-populated with some test data. So you have the LOI information, their software information, company information, as well as different contacts, any rebranded products. There's a suitability checklist that we've built into here as well that displays some additional information. And then here are the relevant tax forms that the vendor has noted from the portal. So going back to the portal here, the next thing I want to take a look at is the form submissions. So these are going to be per tax form, and I'll open up one of these. Let's go into the details here. Here you have some header level information about the form submission itself. And then here you can see that we've done a initial submission. And then if you do need to do any resubmissions or create a new submission, there are buttons here that you can do that, as well as access any of the existing data here. So let's review the initial one just as a starting point. Here you have the header level information, as well as the tax forms that are specified. When you're filling this out, you'll note the test scenario that you want to run this by, as well as there's a place where you can upload the documents for those related tax forms. So I'm going to switch back over to the Power Apps here, and let me go to form submissions. And then let's open up that related form submission record that we were looking at from the portal. So as you can see on the form submission record, the same information submitted via the portal, such as the general details, the tax forms, if there were any vendor limitations, those will all be translated here on this record that your admins and users will have access to. Additionally, they can review this information and make updates to the status, if this has been approved or not. You can specify that. If this needs to be assigned to a particular user or a team owner, they'll have the ability to update any of these fields that we see here. Additionally, you can track activities or notes using this timeline feature so that the team is aware of all of the interactions that may have occurred. Under this notifications tab here, you can see any of the automated notifications that get sent out. So initially, when we've received the form submission and also when the test results have been completed. So we have some notifications here that are automatically generated, and the vendor can either receive that via email, or there's also this notifications section on the portal itself where they can view the different notifications that we have sent out. So next, let's dig into the tax form processing and view one of those records. So to do that, I'm going to navigate to our tax form subgrid here, and I'll just open one of these records up. Note that the processing of the tax forms is triggered automatically when the form submission is submitted. So here on this tax form record, you can see there's the general information. There's also the document URL here, which if we select that, you can preview the tax form that was uploaded by the vendor. So if you do need to access that, you'll be able to see that there with this link. And there's the results from the barcode scanning and the processing here. So you can see the results based on our expected values. So You can see the number of passes and failures, and there's a nice embedded chart over here. So I'm going to switch over to this barcode scan area. And one thing to note here is that there is a third-party solution that we're using that does the barcode scanning. So for example, on this form, we have a 1D barcode and a 2D barcode. We have a third-party tool that will take these barcodes and essentially scan them and get all of the information that's on the tax form itself. So we have those records here. That will lead into the test results here. So here you can see our scanned results. So things that are scanned from the form matched up against the expected results from the designated testing scenario. So here you can quickly see at a glance things that are matching or things that are not, and then the pass and fail for each of those individual data elements on the tax form. So this process is fully automated based on the solution that we've built out here. So going back to our form submission here, you'll notice that we have a barcode actions button at the top. Here within this drop down, you can see there's a number of actions that you can perform. So you can assign this particular form submission to yourself. If you do need to reprocess any test results, there's a button to do that. We can send the results of our testing to our vendors by selecting the send results. And if you do need to scan the results again or in review or want to mark this as completed or canceled, there's quick access buttons to do so. Going back to the send results, when we select that, that is going to generate what's noted here under these barcode comments. So you can see per form the different scenarios that were tested and then some additional text for each of those fields and whether they pass or not and whether any corrections need to be made. Those will be listed under these barcode comments. So again, when we select send results, these are the results that will be generated. This can be automatically emailed to our vendor contact. Or if we go back to the portal real quick, and I'll open up that same form submission. So let's go here, and then let's review the initial submission again. If I scroll down, you'll see that same barcode test results that were generated. They're also readily accessible from the portal here. So multiple ways of getting the information about the test results to the portal. And then as we mentioned, if there are any failed results, the vendor can be automatically notified and they can do that resubmission from the portal here. And then once all of the validation checks have been completed, the vendor can also be notified and we can mark the form submission as completed. In closing, we would like to highlight that the process that we ran through here with the form submission here and the automated testing per tax form and the individual testing scenarios that we've added here. This is a manual process that normally takes days to manually scan, test, process, and validate those results. And this is now automated and streamlined to take a few minutes, meaning you can reduce costs by saving your team countless hours and headaches, as well as optimize your team's performance. Welcome to this demonstration.
Great, thank you. That's quite impressive. I might be a little biased, but it's quite impressive how quickly a Power Platform app can be created. That barcode approval process, the barcode process where you set the vendors submit the tax forms with the test data, it was developed in 7 weeks, and that included training for us. Our future plans with the portal, as briefly mentioned earlier before the video, was that we want to implement a savvy chatbot. This will make the use of generative AI to browse through our tax documentation to provide valuable information to our taxpayers at the click of a button. Currently, our governor enacted an AI task force, and they have not fully put in place all the policies around AI. That's what's kind of holding us up. But our goal in the near future is to have a chatbot help with answering all of our vendor questions. We anticipate our next tax season to be even better than last year with our new Savvy portal. Now our entire process is completely automated, from vendor registration, letter of intent, to actual 2D barcode submissions, totally automated. Our vendor experience is anticipated to improve by turning a process that previously took some of the forms 1 to 5 days into just a few minutes now. We also plan on continuing to make changes, of course, to our Savvy portal as new features are requested by our vendors. We at ALDOR, our employees are learning and tend to leverage the Microsoft Power Platform for internal use as well, enabling them to streamline smaller processes and create applications through the low-code solutions. For example, we have lots of Lotus Notes apps that we're looking at rewriting with Power Platform. Now that we are 100% automated, the automation will continue to help ALDOR by cutting costs, increasing productivity, and just an overall better customer satisfaction. Now I want to just thank you for your time and attention today, and I want to turn it over to any questions, and we have several people on this meeting that can answer some even more technical questions. So Q&A right now. Thank you.
Well, I'd just like to say thank you again, Virginia, and the team at Alabama Department of Revenue for putting this fantastic presentation together and being able to talk not only about the technical benefits, but also the the business value, the outcome benefits. But we'll hold it just for a little bit and see if anybody has any Q&A.
Good afternoon, and thank you both for putting this on. I'm from Georgia, and I was just wondering, what's the ramp-up time or time frame that you should anticipate if you were interested in moving forward with this effort?
The ramp up time that it took us was really quick. You know, we did the barcode approval process in 7 weeks, so it didn't take us long at all. We had a vendor come in, look at our requirements, and like in exactly, I would say probably 2 weeks or less. And plus we have our vendor online, Bernie, if you'd like to add any additional information to that.
Yeah, I think that's the 2 weeks is probably a little bit fast, depending on the size of the project. Obviously,
Yeah.
we were under a time crunch specifically for this one, but I'd say 2 to 4 weeks in terms of gathering the initial details about what the project's going to look like, all the way till sign contract and project kickoff. You know, that's looking at 2 to 4 weeks, I'd say.
Thank you. Any more questions?
Looks like there's one in the chat, Virginia.
Oh. What, how are you saving 1 to 5 days, OCR or plugins? What tech was used? Before, you know, with the manual process, an email was sent in with a PDF form, and then our team had to take the PDF form, scan it into Excel, and do a lot of manual work. So now with the new barcode approval process is fully automated. It only takes a few minutes to, you know, it comes in, it reads it automatically, reads the email, reads the PDF, and it does the data comparison, and then it sends the email out automatically. So it's really quick. Any more questions that we can possibly answer?
Hi, this is Chitra. I'm new to the state and I'm very new to all of this processes. So apologies if I'm asking a basic question. You get PDFs via email and also vendors can upload it online. Is that right?
Yes. But now for this tax season, 2025, it would be no paper. We're supposed to have it fully automated. So you would take the PDF, you can download it, fill it out, and then upload it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then how did you estimate your Power Pages licensing costs? I worked with Robert on that, and I really don't remember exactly. I know we went through and looked at the cost of the licensing that we would need for our development team, because again, a vendor came in, HSO, and they trained our folks too to actually maintain the application. So, Robert, you want to add to that about the?
Yeah, we right size it based off of the anticipated consumption you all are going to have. So we was trying to right size it up front. So there were specific things that we looked for and questions we asked to get to that number.
It's Dwayne in Georgia. So did I hear you correctly that you said that this year you all will do no paper, no scanning whatsoever with during this certification season?
That's what I was told. Is Ethlyn on here? Because I don't think that's changed. I know we're pushing to do everything automatic this tax season. If something's changed though, I will reach out and let you know. But as far as I know, that is correct.
This is Ethelyn, Virginia. Yeah, as far as we know, everything should go through the portal, and that will be the vendor registrations, and that's where they are. The vendors are participating in now to register their products themselves, so everybody can be registered from now going forward. And with the barcode scenarios, they will be uploading those to the portal, along with the other information, the LOIP, letter of intent for paper. They'll be doing that online this time in our portal. So unless there is a problem, then we may have to hand scan, but other than that, we'll reach out to Bertie to get some corrections. But hopefully everything should flow as we are expecting it to be going forward this year.
And this is just paper, right? Not MEF.
MEF is not included in this.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Ethlyn. Any other questions?
I do have a piggyback question from that last question that Dwayne asked. Is there any connection or tie between this paper process and your MEF process?
I'm not on the MEF side, but I know the tie is if your barcode approvals are not approved, or you haven't submitted in a timely fashion to get approved, and vice versa for MEF, those will kind of are going hand in hand. You can be approved for MEF, and if you haven't done your barcode, then you may be held up. And our user from income tax is not on here, I don't think. So they kind of need to go hand in hand like they have in the past. You just can't be approved for MEF and not finish with barcode, and vice versa.
So there's a dependency.
There, yeah, it has been, and especially when we were doing manual process. So therefore, my side may have gotten behind because of the number of scenarios that we had. And you can check with our income tax user who would be able to, make sure that to let you know that MEF and barcode should be hand in hand still. And I'll see if I can find that answer out before we get off this call.
Thanks again, Ethlyn.
And
Looks like there's another question. Yeah. Were there any issues getting buy-in from the vendors to use this new solution?
Actually, we didn't. We had a webinar scheduled, and I believe we had like 42 vendors sign up, and we all received positive feedback. It went well. I didn't hear any concerns.
And there's another question also, how involved was Alabama Department of Revenue in specific layout and format details of the portal? And was DOR doing the design or just providing basic info like a list of fields for each screen?
Okay.
Hi,
Ethlyn.
I'm Amelcia. I think Ethelyn is getting the answer to the other question. We were heavily involved in giving them the formatting. So we gave them we have a barcode specification that we send out to our vendors every year. So we gave that to HSO, and they use that to develop the design of the barcode app. And we had meetings and sessions to go through what we needed the app to do and how our process actually worked. And they took that and developed our entire barcode app.
Thank you, Mitchell.
These are some really good questions. Any other last minute questions?
Okay.
Okay,
Well, thank
if there's no more questions, I want to thank you all again for joining. Special thanks to Alabama Department of Revenue. And I appreciate you all and looking forward to the next session. Virginia, any last minute comments on your side?
No, just thank you for the time. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Virginia. Great
Thank
job.
Thank you,
you.
Virginia. Great
Thank
stuff.
you,
Thank you.
Great
Thank
job.
you, Virginia and team.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.